So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this morning, I'm delighted to have with us John Laverick, who's director at Amrose Associates. So, firstly, John, thank you for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, Amrose Associates, what you do, how you help people, that will be wonderful.
Yeah, sure. Morning, Chris. Glad to be here. Yeah, so my name's John Laverick, and I'm a director at Amrose Associates. We are a team of civil, structural, and mechanical engineers, and we provide consultancy services to the construction and demolition industries nationwide, really, in the UK. And the sort of things we do, we tend to, I'd probably describe us as a specialist consultancy. We focus on projects which are a little more niche, probably more complex projects tend to be in regulated industries as well. So we work in the power industries, we work in defence, in railway, and we solve complex problems, generally working for contractors, of our clients, and yeah, demolition projects as well as construction projects. So yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
Brilliant. And what would make a great client for you? So, in case someone might be watching, what sort of clients work best? Do you work best with and for?
Um, we work the type of clients we work for can range from, the PLCs of the world, so huge multinational contractors working across all sectors, right down to almost, one-man band type businesses. So we do work for clients across the full scale. But I think where we really enjoy working and probably where our sweet spot is clients whose assets are complex, so, oil and gas, um, petrochemical, nuclear, power industries. So generally regulated industries where the clients they're looking for a problem for a solution to a complex problem, and they engage with us during the process. So they sort of know what they want, and we work with them collaboratively to solve the problem. That tends to be where we work quite well, and it's where we enjoy our work. And um, we tend to enjoy the big, heavy, complex projects. But that's not to say we don't do the smaller ones as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, look, if we start, John, if you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into business, and why this particular one for you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it probably, how I ended up where I am today probably stems from quite a young age, and it's worth sort of talking about my background. I mean, I'm from Yorkshire originally. Was born in Pontefract. My father was a miner. His father was a miner. So my father was a very practical guy. He loved getting his hands dirty. He loved fixing things. He loved taking things apart. And he was a very hard worker. Um, and my mum, she was a business owner, so she had hairdressing salons when I was a child. So we was always around businesses, we was always
Yep.
about around practical people running businesses. So that's how I grew up, and I think I always had an interest in taking things apart and mechanics and how things worked. And at school, I naturally did quite well in maths and the sciences. So I sort of fell into engineering. I didn't choose it. It just that's just the way I went, and I don't really know why. I'm glad I did, but that was the path. So studied in Pontefract at A level and did okay. Chose an engineering degree. Went to Bristol University, which was a great experience, and got a mechanical engineering degree. And again, sort of fell out of that, not really sure what I wanted to do. So I just went and got a job. The first company to offer me a job, I took it because, why not?
Yep.
And off I went to Heathrow Terminal 5, which was, I think at the time, might even been the world's biggest construction project, certainly Europe's biggest construction
Yes.
project. And I was thrown in at the deep end, really, really thrown in at the deep end. In hindsight, looking back, probably quite irresponsibly thrown in at the deep end by my employer at the time. It, but it was sink or swim, and I just about swam, and it was a great experience, and it started me off in a career of construction construction engineering. How do we build things? How do we knock things out down? Um, and yeah, over the years, I moved from business to business. I was quite driven, so I wasn't the type of person to stay static for very long. I wanted the next thing. I wanted the next interesting project. I wanted more responsibility and probably, wanted more money as well. So I know that was the driver for me. So I moved around working for various contractors. I moved sort of from traditional construction into the power industry, coal and gas, and then into nuclear because I did quite well I enjoyed the power industry. So into nuclear, um, civil nuclear, so generation, and then into nuclear defense as well. Bit of oil and gas work. So more and more regulated, more complex projects, and just really enjoyed it. Um, and then about 7 years ago, I was approached by a London-based contractor, large multidisciplinary contractor. They'd secured the demolition of Ferrybridge Sea, which was a local site to me, and they asked me, "Will you come and lead this project?"
Right.
Which I said, "Yes, I'll come and do that." But what they also wanted me to do was build a regional business unit for them. They were a London-based consultancy, but they wanted to expand. So it was a dual purpose role, and that's what I did. So it took 6 years doing that, and then ended up sort of running the Leeds office, and then offices in Bristol and in Glasgow with a sort of multidiscipline team. So that was my career up until the point I started my own business, really. And then, yeah, about a year ago, I set up my business, Amrose Associates, and that really was the drivers were I was just looking for incentivization, basically.
Yeah.
I'd always wanted to run my own business. I had this image in my mind of doing it and enjoying it and enjoying the experience of not just doing the engineering, but also of winning work and delivering good
Yep.
quality work. Um, so I took the decision, yeah, a year ago to a big decision. I was working for a company that was a good company to work for, that paid me very well, doing a job that was not particularly taxing because I'd done it for a long time, but I just wasn't sufficiently motivated to work as hard as I wanted to work. So I decided, at the point in my life where I had probably the biggest mortgage I'll ever have with wife and two children in nursery, costing a fortune. I thought, yeah, now's the time. I'll sort of,
Perfect timing,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'll hand my notice in and I'll start again, and that's what I did, and I've not looked back.
Brilliant. Well, hey, good for you. But it really does. I think it really that's a really great example of how powerful what we call the entrepreneurial spark is. That
Yeah, yeah,
you had to do it despite good job, good situation. Lots of reasons for you not. The point being for me, lots of reasons for you not to do this, but you chose to do it.
yeah, yeah, and it was a purely sort of motivational based decision.
Yeah,
I just always wanted to do it, and I
brilliant.
just felt that, I'm in my early 40s. I'm probably, you could argue, at the sort of the prime of the choice, the point of my career where you might consider starting a business.
Yeah,
You've got lots of experience and contacts. You've got plenty of time to allow you to do it, even if it fails, and you could go and do something else. So I just felt like it was
brilliant.
now or never. And if I didn't do it, I knew I would always just look back and
Yeah,
think, "Oh, why didn't you give it a go?"
brilliant, brilliant. And so obviously a year in now. What are some of the biggest challenges you've had to face so far?
Um, Biggest challenges, yeah. I mean, it's certainly been a year of learning and a year of new experiences. I had a good foundation and plan on day one. I had spent the last 6 years doing what I'm doing now for another
Yeah,
business. So I had that experience, which was very useful. So I sat down and I put a plan together, and that went out the window within about 3 or 4 weeks when an old contact got in touch and said, "Have you got any jobs going?" And the opportunity to take on my first employee, which I didn't plan to do in the first year, happened within the first month. And so my business plan was for the first year for it to be me and me alone, sort of a one-man band finding my feet.
Yeah.
And today, we've our year end was 31st of January, so we're sort of a week into the next into year two, and we've got four full-time employees. So it's rapidly
Wow.
changed.
Wow.
And I think the biggest challenge for me has been and I think it's always going to be the challenge, is the balance between winning work, delivering work. You've got to have the people to deliver the work.
Yep.
Really, for me, before you win the work, because if you do it the other way around and you win the work and deliver it poorly,
Yep.
then you're
Great.
damaging your reputation and you'll never work for that client
Great.
again. Is the way I see it. So
Yep.
want to do it that way. So for a business that's new, not a lot of cash available, the timing of recruiting versus winning work and very challenging.
Very. Yeah. But again, you overcame that. A lot that would have been a fearful thing for many people.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the way I overcame that was by just accepting and having conversations with my wife that there are going to be times that I'm going to have to work really hard. That
Yeah.
that when I have to put the effort in to bridge those gaps, then it just has to be done. And it won't be like this forever, hopefully. That's the plan. But that's how I've got around that mainly.
Brilliant. I think the most important thing, hopefully this is useful, is that absolutely, and in these early days, we do have, there are times we have to work, but it's avoiding it becoming the norm.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of people see that growth only happens by hard work. Clearly, it is founded on hard work, but growth actually comes, from, in my opinion, from being able to take a step back. And the phrase they use is work smarter, not harder, but it is our job as business owners is to guide the ship, steer the ship, not pull the sails up.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think the interesting thing around that is that in the last year, I certainly have worked harder than I did in the preceding years.
Yep.
But I've enjoyed it far more.
Great.
And I would also say that my work-life balance has been far better
Brilliant.
because I've been able to make decisions completely unguided by I've got full autonomy, obviously, to make all the decisions. So
Yep.
if I want to go for a run in the middle of the day, then I go for a run in the middle
Yeah.
of the day. If I've worked hard on a Wednesday or a Thursday evening to hit a deadline, then I'll take Friday afternoon off if the timing's right. So yeah, I mean, work-life balance and
Brilliant.
wellness for me and for people who work for me, it's really important.
Brilliant. I often say to business owners, the challenge with running a business is that ultimately the buck stops with us. It is our responsibility. But the great thing about having your own business is we get to choose exactly how it is.
Yeah.
Who we work for, when we work, how we work, whether we want to have a run at lunchtime or not. Those things which people that don't own and run businesses don't have those choices in general. So it is a very it can be a restrictive situation for a period, but it's also a very freeing situation too.
Yeah, yeah, agreed, 100%.
So alongside that, what are the key learnings would you say you've had about running, growing?
Yeah, I think there's a good few. I mean, you've got an action coach banner behind you. I have actually been having some action coaching.
Brilliant.
I went on a course, a SME course at the Institute of Structural Engineers, probably around 7 months ago, and I was introduced to Action Coach, and I was quite skeptical. I think, I've never had any coaching. I was
Yeah.
quite skeptical to the concept. I felt like I had a plan, and that plan was very much founded in my experience. It was what I knew, and I felt like I knew what to do.
Yeah.
But despite being a little skeptical, I try to be open-minded. So I did actually sign up, and I've been getting some coaching, and it has really opened my eyes to lots of aspects of time management, giving myself time to work on the business and doing sort of the high value things, bringing myself away from just delivering the engineer. When I say just, it's
Right.
obviously it's what we deliver, but it's
Yes.
not the only thing I can spend my time doing, because otherwise the business won't progress and won't grow, and ultimately will probably fade. So I think the biggest learnings for me have been around allowing myself to realize that I don't know everything and there's still a lot to learn. But then I'm also enjoying that process as well.
Brilliant.
It's been good.
Great to hear. And again, it's for me, the people that are best with coaches and actually coaches, especially are the ones that are open. And as you say, it's cool to be skeptical, absolutely. It's but be willing to listen and learn, and that's wonderful. So coming on to that, I mean, you obviously clearly know we're a coaching organisation. So who are the best coaches you work with, whether that's business, sport, life in general? Who are the people that have the biggest influence on you so far?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really thought about the concept of having a coach until quite recently. But I mean, I suppose in my early, you've got to say your parents, haven't you? You know, my parents
Yeah.
have instilled um, the whole work ethic that
Yes.
I've got, and a bit of a can-do attitude, I think, as well. So they didn't coach me, but they were the most influential people. I think other than that, I don't know. It's difficult to pick people out. I think my maths teacher in my secondary school, who when I decided to leave that school, he said, "If you leave this school, you'll be on the dole by the time you're 22." I think that was quite
Nice.
influential at the time.
Yeah, nice. Oh, that's great. Thank you for that.
So yeah, I've been working to prove him wrong for the last 40 years.
Yeah, that's it shocks you sometimes what people, when someone has told me something similar the other day, and it's just like, how can you, how are you allowed to speak to
Let's
uh,
say that
a
to
young,
a 12-year-old boy, yeah.
yeah, a really, in a position of influence, and you're going to tell them that, just absolutely nuts.
I suppose
Uh,
it could have gone one of two ways, and for me it was motivational, which you know it was not a problem for me. But yeah, maybe
yeah,
somebody else it could have been quite damaging actually.
yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, and clearly the fact that you remember it is still
Yeah, yeah,
very important to you. So it's yeah, whether they should take credit or not, I don't know. But I'm sure, I suspect there's somebody else out there for every one of you. There's another person out there that's gone. Fair enough. I'll go on the no,
yeah. Yeah.
which would be terrible. And have you picked up any favorite quotes or sayings you catch yourself using, John?
Um, I'm not really a quotes kind of guy. I think I think if there's two that I do have in my mind, and I've been known to say is when things are tough, when it's hard, and you've got doubts in your mind, I tend to say to people, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah,
You've got to accept it's going to be hard sometimes. And another one that sort of goes with that is always that generally, I say to people, it'll all work out in the end, because it always does. Whether that is it works out in the end and it's good, or it works out in the end and it's not great, it still worked out, and you're there, and you just got to whichever card you dealt, you've got to deal with them and
brilliant.
your best, haven't you? So that's my sort of thinking around.
Brilliant. No, I love it. It's funny. I think it was, what is it? The great, no, the very best exotic Marigold Hotel. There's a film called that, and the young guy in that who's the entrepreneur in that, he says, and I love it. He says it'll all be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end.
Right, yeah, yeah,
Which I love. Just keep going. Just keep going. It might not be right now, but we haven't hit the end if it's not all right. So bang on, love it, absolutely love it. And have you got any favourite books on business or success or motivation or personal development that you could recommend?
um probably not actually, no. I don't do enough reading, and through the coaching I've been doing, I've got a long list, and I am trying to spend a bit of time now to
Okay.
invest in learning. So I'm listening to various things. I've just listened to is it Eat the Frog it's called?
Eat that frog, Brian
Eat
Tracy.
That Frog,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just listened to that, and that was very useful. the other one that I like, which I don't know if it's a business book, but it's it's the subtle art of not giving a
AFU, yes,
that's it. Yeah, yeah. Quite like that. Yeah. But no,
brilliant.
I wouldn't sit here and say I could recommend many, to be honest, because
No, but only
I
one or
haven't
two.
invested enough time yet.
No, cool. It is. One of the phrases that I found that Brad told me a long time ago that I think is very relevant, which is you can't. Let's get it right. You can't out earn your learning.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Good one. Yeah.
So the learning is really important to be, become the people we need to be able to grow and succeed. And it's I think that's I don't know if it's a truth, but it's certainly a fair challenge. Is the more we learn, the more we earn. So it's worth learning more.
That certainly makes sense, and I think I mentioned the coaching, and if I'd gone back 9 months, I probably wasn't even on my agenda really to actually spend that much time learning, because I probably thought, what, I just don't have enough time. I've got, I do like to have a good work-life balance. So, I've got two young children, and I enjoy cycling and running and spending time with them. So, it's a full agenda, but
Yes,
it's about coming up with ways and methods to allow yourself to learn. So, I'm listening to podcasts when I'm running. That's the only way I
brilliant,
can be able to find the time.
brilliant.
Uh, and I am finding it beneficial. So, yeah, it is now something that I'm actively trying to
Yeah,
uh, make time to do.
brilliant. And speaking of learning, what would you say you've learned about yourself so far?
I think just to trust your instinct and go with your gut feeling more than you might initially think you should. I think
Yes.
your first instinct is generally right, and
Yeah.
bit of procrastination isn't going to do much harm, but not too much. You've got to think around topics and challenges, but then just make a decision, get on with it, and I think that's probably where I've I can be a bit of a procrastinator if I'm not careful. So what I've found is there is no time for procrastination now. Now I'm doing it for myself. So I've actually forced myself that as soon as I recognize I'm procrastinating, is just to make the
Great.
decision and move on. Yeah. So that's probably the main one. And yeah, again, quite enjoying that process.
It's a very, I think it's a very valuable learning. I found in my first business we were growing very, very fast. We were growing. I think the business was doing 30 to 40% growth every year, and my part of the business was going at sort of 400% a year in the power trading we were talking about earlier. And the my truth, my situation for me was if I waited long enough to really have all the information I need to make a decision, it was too late.
Yeah.
And so I had to make a decision, and then I committed by dint of my action to make it the right one.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. So look,
Yeah.
I'll back my instinct, and then I'll back myself to make that the right one. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I,
and
I I think certainly not making a decision is 9 times out of 10 worse than making not the per certainly it's worse than making a less than perfect decision. There's
100%,
no such thing as there is a perfect decision. You just make the best decision with the information you've got available at the time
absolutely.
and give it a go. Yeah.
Engineers, but almost by their nature, need to find the right answer,
Yeah.
and that holds us back because there never will be. A, it takes too long to get there, and B, that accepting there isn't always a perfect answer anyway. So pick one of two or three that are probably about right, and just make it work.
Yeah. You don't actually need the perfect answer, do you?
No,
You just
100%.
need an answer that's good enough.
It's about constant improvement, development, and activity. It's you said the inactivity that's created by procrastination, not deciding, is actually way worse than actually picking one and making it work as best you can. In
Yeah.
my opinion,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I think the other sort of related topic on that and learnings is the time management of my time. I'd like to say I'm reasonably good at managing the time of teams to do things to deliver services to clients. That's what I've
yep,
done for 20 years. That's actually reasonably easy. But managing my time to actually do the things that need to be done to maintain and grow the business, and forcing myself to do those, even though they're probably the bits I don't want to do and the most difficult.
Yep.
And I'm not there, I've got a long way to go, but at least I know I've got to do it. That's the starting point.
Brilliant. And that's the obviously concept. One of the concepts behind Eat That Frog
Yeah,
is
yeah,
best that one first, and then A, you winning, and B, you feel better for, and right there, and then it is, yeah, it is difficult. It's just like sometimes just gonna stick a head down and go at it like a bull.
yeah.
Hopefully not in a China shop. So looking forward, John, what does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
The future for us is, I'd like to think we've sowed the seeds and the foundation for a business which can continue to grow, I think, over the next 2 to 5 years. We've got I'd like to think we've got quite a robust quality management system that we can use as a foundation to grow the business. I've been very keen on building the business from the start to enable that growth. So
Yep.
it's
Great.
structured and organized. That's the way I see it. It'll develop as things go, but that's the idea. So yeah, we need to continue to deliver good quality products to the clients, and then organically grow the business through word of mouth and sort of repeat custom. The first time you work with a client, you like to think that client is there for the next 30 years. So yeah, in fact, 5 years time, we might be 20, 30 people strong is what I've got in my mind.
Wonderful.
Um, but probably most importantly, that everybody in the business is enjoying the work that we do, and feels that they're contributing, and has an opportunity to grow with us, and enjoy the
Brilliant.
work. That's probably the most important thing, really.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's sort of common sense, but not everyone um, sort of signs on to it. But when we've got teams doing stuff they really like and they're really good at, everyone. In fact, that's another concept of Brian Tracy was, if the best organisations are the ones where most people spend most of their time doing the three things they really love and they're really good at.
Yeah, yeah.
Get other people to do everything else, and often that's within the team. It can just be. But if you do that, then you've got a happy and effective and efficient and ultimately profitable team and business. So it's a very virtuous thing to do.
Yeah, that's it. Because I enjoy um, running a business. I enjoy the building of this, but I still enjoy delivering the services to clients. And I'm keen to do that within a team, and with a team of engineers that enjoy
Yeah,
it as well. Who actually want to come to work. And the team that's joined the business so far, I've known them all for a number of years, other than one chap, but they're all experienced. They're all very keen and doing a great job. And it's about keeping that sort of forward momentum as the business grows by recruiting the right people, really. That's another huge challenge, obviously.
brilliant. Yeah, absolutely is. And again, the investment of time to find the right people is so valuable. It's easy to try and do it quick and easy. And the cost of having the wrong person on board is way in excess of the cost of not having somebody in a space you have to fill.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I have made that mistake before.
We all have.
Luckily not yet within this business, but I probably will at some point.
It happens.
That's very difficult, and yeah, like you say, if you recruit the wrong person, it ultimately will probably cost you more time than benefit that you get from that person. So you have to be quite careful around that.
I think the phrase is it hire slow and fire fast. I think is something like that is really valuable phrase to have in mind. It is take your time, make sure for their benefit as much as yours, it's going to be right. Because ultimately, if it's not right, then they lose as much as we do.
Yeah, you're right. But it's interesting because I've sort of had an experience where I've been finding almost too many good candidates, which has been
Right.
yeah, it's been unusual. So and so then what's happened is I've seen candidates, and I've thought, yeah, they are the right person for the business, but we're not quite ready for them yet. And do I invest in that person now or not? And so it's actually been the other way around, despite the fact that recruitment in engineering is really, really challenging.
Yeah.
It just seems that the timing of things at the moment seems to be the other way around, but I'm sure the tables will turn again.
Yeah, no, I guess so. And obviously you're a year in there. What would you say to anybody that was thinking of going to business right now, John?
Um, I mean, I'm certainly no expert to give that many words of wisdom, but I think from my personal experience, there'd be two things. I did spend quite a bit of time planning things. I sat down and I had all these ideas in my head, but until I actually just wrote them down and almost put a little business plan together, it was only then when I wrote it down, I thought, you know what? Yeah, okay. You can actually do it.
Brilliant.
There's nothing here that says you can't do it. You
Brilliant.
thought of everything, so get on with it, basically. So it's that is if you want to do it, I think put together a plan, no matter how basic, and then if it looks like it's a good idea, trust your instinct and just get
Love
on
it.
with it, basically. Yeah.
Love it. Well, I really think that's a cool attitude. I really do. And finally, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do that, John?
Oh, I don't know. Drink less. Be less frivolous with your money, probably. Well, good.
Indeed.
No, I don't know. I mean, all of those things, but I probably I wouldn't change anything. I suppose
Great.
that's a good thing. Maybe I could have done what I'm doing now a couple of years earlier, maybe, but it wouldn't really made any difference. So no, no, I think it just maybe probably drink less and exercise more, probably.
Brilliant. Well, John, it's been brilliant talking to you today. So, and thank you so much for your time. And it's great to pick up the learnings from where you are right now, relevant to starting a business and that being fresh in your mind and how you've done that. So that's been really valuable. I really wish you the best of luck for the future. So and maybe we can swing by in another 12 months and just see what that next step is, where that's taken you. And before, sorry, for anyone watching today that might like to get in touch with you or the business, what would be the best way to do that?
Probably if you have a look like go online, our website's Amrose, which is AMROSE Associates.com. You'll find us on there, or by all means find me on LinkedIn and get in touch. Yeah, sure.
Wonderful. Well, as I say, for now, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.